What shocked me the most about Germany? What is the biggest difference between Germany and Russia? Would I move to Germany again if I could go back in time? So I asked people on Instagram, you can follow me there, what do they really want to know about life in Germany as a Russian immigrant? And let me tell you, some of those questions are pretty triggering. So you asked, I'm answering honestly and unfiltered. Are you ready? Let's go. What's something that's totally normal in Germany but would be weird in your country? First thing that comes to my mind is bikes, because you can see Germans ride bikes everywhere. And what is interesting is that it doesn't matter what the weather is. It's raining, windy, like cold for Germans. Yet you would see so many people on bikes, not only adults but also their children. They have these special rain-proof clothes, like glasses to protect their eyes and the face from wind. And still they do ride bike no matter what weather is. And for me that was really strange, because everyone has car here. A car, there is at least one car in a family for sure. Yet they prefer riding bikes. And it's great. You basically do sport while commute to your office or your university or whatever you are going to. Yeah. What is more interesting is the balance between drivers and bikers, because they, most of the time, they use the same road. And for me that was, and it looked really dangerous at first, when a person with the children on the back seat crosses the streets along with the cars. It looked really dangerous for me, but here people are used to it, and it's pretty normal to see 5 years old following their parents along the other cars. And it's great because children from early age already know the rules, and they will be ready to drive cars from like pretty early age, I would say. I personally still struggling to ride bike along with the cars, because I feel that still it's dangerous, although it's not, because drivers here in Germany, they really follow the rules, and I feel that there is a low chance to get into any accident if you are on a bike and you are riding among the cars. This is something I wouldn't encounter in Russia for sure. And there is another interesting thing which is quite common in Germany and weird in Russia, and this is the relationships between managers and employees. In Russia, being a friend with your boss, it's not something that happens. Moreover, you would always feel that your boss is superior to you. In Russia, they always get a better parking slot, or they get best seats in canteen, and they do treat employees as they below them. And the bigger company is, the stronger this divide can feel. The message is clear, I'm your boss and you are subordinate. But in Germany, it's completely different story. Here, your manager is just another employee with just higher responsibility and higher salary. I can't speak for every company in Germany, but at my husband's workplace, I was shocked by how people can be warm and human to their employees, and by how these relationships can develop and can eventually become a friendship. This is something that I didn't encounter in Russia. And this approach makes a huge difference. People who are just workers without these high positions, they feel that they are treated well, that they are also human beings, that they also have rights, and they feel that respect from leadership. And the gap between employees and managers is way less here than in Russia. What's the biggest difference between Germany and Russia? That's an interesting question. I think that's the trust between people. And I notice it in little tiny things. For example, in our apartment building, I often see packages left in the hallway. It's boxes or other deliveries, expensive boxes, and no one touches them. People just trust that their stuff was not stolen. Now let me tell you a story. When we lived in Russia, we took out our old balcony door in the hallway and left it for a bit. And in just around 20 minutes, it was gone. Someone just took it, like stole it without even asking. And it's not just about packages, it's the whole mindset behind it. After living in Europe, I naturally got used to greeting my neighbors, even though I might not even know them. But if they walk around my area, I could just say hello, and they would kindly and very friendly respond to me hello as well. So it became my habit, and when I traveled to Russia 2 years ago, I kept doing it, kept greeting my neighbors or people just in our area where we lived. And some of them looked at me in a way I felt myself pretty weird. And I think that it might happen because some people, they initially start thinking that another person who is smiling to you or greeting to you wants something from you, wants to get something from you. This is why they are so friendly and nice to you. And this is pretty sad. Although it's little tiny things, but if you add them up, they shape the way people interact, the way people treat each other, and the way people trust each other. So I feel that people in Germany, they are more open to daily interactions. And it doesn't mean that they immediately become your best friends. No, but this is a basic level of politeness and trust between people that makes life easier. So what shocked you the most about Germany? Well, honestly, I didn't expect that Germany is so outdated in some areas, and I don't want to offend anyone by this statement. Somehow I feel that the word progress or digitalization is something that many Germans are scared of. For some reason, anything online or automated, this is something that Germans don't trust that much. And I'm not talking about just paying cash in some place. No, it goes deeper, it's about the whole system. Bank transfers can go up to 3 days and you can't track where money currently is. Sometimes booking a doctor's appointment, it's a nightmare, especially for me, since I don't speak German that well, and for me making an appointment by call, this is something I don't like to do because I barely understand the person on another side. And many clinics, they do not have websites, or even if they do have a website, you do not have this button where you can just make an appointment online. So you either have to go to that clinic and make this appointment, or you have to call and hope that the person on another side will be able to speak English or maybe Russian, which also happens from time to time. Online booking exists, but it's not a norm for everyone, and this is something that makes things unnecessarily complicated. I'm sure you've heard about German's bureaucracy. Now take all you've heard and multiply by 10. And this is exactly what things really are. Wherever it's registering your address or applying for a visa or maybe filling out forms for taxes, it's endless paper. And all these tons of paper, this postman deliver every single day to every house, and you get that piles of mails. And sometimes to get done some paperwork with the government, it takes months. And all of that could be done just by sending emails without using any paper at all. Less paper and time would be wasted, and things would get faster, and all the businesses and processes would be tripled in the speed. Digitalization is something that makes our life easier, but somehow with this conservative mindset, Germans, they don't want to integrate online stuff in their lives. And this will definitely slow down the progress here in Germany. Let's be honest, do Germans actually follow all the rules? Most of them, yes. However, since Germany has so many immigrants in the recent years, some of them, they are not just used to following the rules, and let me tell you, many of them, they are Russians. And this is where trend following the rules gets broken. Germans don't do small talk. How do you even start a conversation? Honestly, I don't agree with this stereotype at all. For me, it's not a problem to have a small talk. In fact, I have these small talks every single week in different places like a bus stop or stores or just somewhere in a park. Probably because I look friendly or because I have my kids around me. And old ladies, they like starting conversations. If you asked me this question a year ago when I just moved to Germany, I would definitely say them some questions. Somehow the conversation keeps going, and I get to positive things about Germany a little bit, which is a very nice thing. However, there is an issue. If we are talking about elderly people, the majority of them, they don't speak English, and I do not speak German that well, only like a very basic talks. And the lack of German language I have, unfortunately, doesn't allow me to get connected more to locals, to have more interesting conversation, some deep conversation, you know, it's just somewhere on the surface and I can't go deeper. And sometimes those really friendly and cute old ladies, they keep going their conversation, and at some point I stop understanding what they are talking about, so I just smile to them and nod my head. And this is how the conversation ends eventually. And I know that this is my problem. I should learn Dutch faster so I would be able to connect with locals more, because I am really lacking of these connections with the elderly people, and I would love to know more about them, about the way they live, some traditions, some things which are going on here, and I don't quite understand why they are going the way they do. And what I've noticed is that if you want to talk, if you want to have a small talk, you can just look at the person, at their eyes, smile, and if a person reacts the same way, you have a connection, you can start a conversation. It's pretty easy, and if person doesn't want, you will also feel it, and there will not be any chance in having conversation. So small talks, it's not something that Germans don't like to do, in my opinion. Okay, but why do Germans love cash so much? Well, some of my friends say that after COVID, this situation has improved a lot. And honestly, I feel this is something that has to do with privacy. Some Germans really don't like to share their data or being online. And I remember when I did street interview here in Germany, I was surprised by how many people refused to be recorded. Some wanted to talk on topics I was asking them, but once they saw a camera and realized that I was shooting, they said, no, I don't want to I don't want to be online, I don't want to be on YouTube. And it's not because they were shy, it's because they didn't want to be online at all. And I totally respect that. I don't force anyone to be online or to put any content if they don't want to. But let's be real, in today's digital world, people who are comfortable being online, they have a huge advantage in front of those who are not. And of course, the conservative mindset many Germans have plays a big role in this approach. Germans seem to prefer sticking to what they know rather than embracing new ways of doing things. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, not at all, but in some cases it definitely makes life more complicated. What do you say Germany is actually better than Russia? If you asked me this question a year ago when I just moved to Germany, I would definitely say yes, because I had like filters on my eyes and I saw only positive things about Germany. Now I see both pros and cons. And after 4 years of me living abroad, I finally realized that it doesn't matter where you live, as long as you are comfortable with yourself, as long as you have your inner peace, because if you do, you will be happy no matter where you live. But if you don't, you will always find some negative things about the place, and you will be always complaining about something. It can be anything, the weather, the people, the housing or whatsoever. Of course, you can be dissatisfied with some things and you can just try to make them better. Yet it all goes from an inner state the person has, and it's not about looking for a perfect place where to live, but it's about making yourself, like your inner world, your perfect place, and then you will be happy no matter where you live. It took me some time to understand that. If you could bring one thing from Germany back home, what would it be? Continuing my previous question, I would bring work-life balance. Here in Germany, it's pretty cool to be a worker, you know. You would have so many benefits. You would have sick leave, you can go on vacation, many days of vacation. Everyone has some other benefits like going to gym, and some companies they pay for transportation. And if you put all the little tiny things workers have here in Germany, you can say that it's pretty beneficial to work in Germany. Germans do value their personal time, and this is something that was missing in Russia. I remember back in Russia, my husband worked sometimes till 6 p.m. Then he came back home after dinner. He started working again till late at night. Sometimes it was night shifts, and it was like work, 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 and on weekends as well. If you are American, for you probably it's normal, but here in Germany it's not normal at all. And you can feel that work-life balance in Germany very well. Like 3 or 4 p.m. if you go outside, you would see so many people already. So they stopped working at this time and they go spend time with their families. They pick up children from the kindergarten. They just go to parks if it's a nice weather. And they really enjoy life. They still have some time to spend with the family, to do some hobbies, to just enjoy the weather. And I feel that it's not the case for Russians or for Americans. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Life-work balance, this is something that we do appreciate about Germany a lot. Do you ever feel like an outsider in Germany? At first, I didn't feel myself an outsider at all, maybe because, again, I had that pink glasses on my eyes and everything was like a honeymoon here. But after living here for a longer time, I do feel an outsider sometimes. A quick example, it's a recent carnival we had here in Germany, in our land. And when we went to that carnival with my family and stayed on the street waiting for a parade, I felt so lonely because I saw so many people around. They were gathering together, families together, friends. They were really big groups of people. And we were just by ourselves, just 5 of us. I didn't understand the music. I didn't understand the local jokes because I still don't speak German that well. And my husband and I, we felt by ourselves. Like we were not a part of this event. We were not a part of this community. Although it was so festive and everyone was cheering and like feeling happy, we felt that we were lonely. This is something that also has to do with the way we were raised, because this carnival, it's not something that we would do in our childhood. We didn't know that tradition that well. And we are just need to get used to all these new holidays, all these new cultural events, in order to understand them and feel the part of those events. We do not have that history of those events. And again, the language makes a huge difference. It's really necessary to be able to speak a local language. Although many Germans speak English, it's not a problem for them. But if you are attending an event like this, people would speak German between each other. They wouldn't just start switching English just because they want you to understand what is going on. They want you to know their local language so you could understand the jokes and everything what is going on. Probably instead of recording this video now, I should learn Dutch. I'm kidding, I really do love making these videos. Why is it so hard to find an apartment in Germany? Oh my god, yes, this is really super hard. There are high demand, limited supply, and landlords are really picky because tenants have so many rights here in Germany. Now, when we moved to Germany, we lived in a temporary apartment, and I was so naive that I believed we would find an apartment in 2 weeks. It took us so much time. At first, we looked all the ads on the website, then we needed to click a button that we are interested in this place. Then we had to provide all the papers, my husband's salary, credit history. We didn't have that credit history because we just moved to Germany, and all that papers, even education. Then you send all these papers to a potential landlord, and then they send you either invitation or just nothing. So even to get invited to a viewing, it's already a a win, you know. It's not something that would happen with every apartment you want to check. And it was so surprising for me, because in Russia it's not a problem at all. You can find an apartment, you can sign up the contract, and you can move in and do all of that just in one day. And it's super easy, no headache at all. But here in Germany it would take you so much time, energy, and it's also stressful because you never know whether you will be chosen or not. I remember we saw one apartment. We really liked that, and the landlord seemed to be very nice. We had more than 1 hour interview. We brought all our papers, education, my husband's contracts and stuff. Everything went perfectly. Really were 99% sure that we would get it. And after 3 weeks, that landlord, he called us and said that they chose another family. And we were so upset because we were sure we would get it. We like already preparing our stuff and furniture. And this is something that I was not ready at all. And now, since we have a new member in our little family, soon we will have to look for a new apartment, a bigger one. And I'm a little bit freaked out because to go through all these steps again, it's really stressful and time consuming. Fortunately, we have an advantage now because we already built some network around, and it's easier to find an apartment among your friends or your acquaintances, because most of the time people would first ask their community, the people they know, whether there is someone who wants to rent the apartment, and if it's not, they go and post their offer online. And some offers, they never really went online because the people just shared that they have a house, they want to rent it out, and among their friends or other acquaintances, they would find people who would like to rent it. And this is a really good option. Что такое, сыночек? Ты там резал что-то? How has moving to Germany changed you? Honestly, I think no one stays the same after living abroad, even for a short time. And it's really must-have experience, I believe, because if you move abroad, you find yourself first in a really stressful situation, and then in a situation where you don't know anyone. And sometimes people we know, our friends, even our family, they shape our identity, the way we feel and think about ourselves. But once you move somewhere, you can be anyone. You can start discovering so many traits you never knew existed before. And I found this fascinating, and I experienced it myself a few times already. Cuckoo. So living abroad is a chance to rebuild yourself from scratch, and I've experienced this a few times. First, when I moved from my hometown to Novosibirsk, a bigger city where I enrolled in the university. And then when we left Russia and moved to Hungary, then here in Germany, every time I discover new traits, and this discovery helps to understand yourself better. You stop caring what people think about you. After moving so many times, I've definitely changed a lot. I've changed my perspectives, my attitude, the way I look at things, and the understanding of the world. And I see many positive outcomes from all this moving, although it's tough sometimes to be far away from family. What's been the hardest part about living abroad? Before, I thought that it would be fine, but then it turned out that being far from my family, my father, my sisters, it's really tough. And it gets tougher the longer... Sophia, mommy is almost done. And it gets tougher the longer I live far from them, because it's not easy for us to meet. So living far from my family, my father, my sister, extended family, it really gets tougher with the time. And I don't miss the places, I don't miss cities, I miss people a lot. And this is the hardest part of living abroad. If you could go back in time, would you still move to Germany? I don't know. That was interesting questions indeed, and I enjoyed to answer them. If you have other questions or if you want to know something else about life in Germany, let me know in the comments below, or you can contact me in any social media as well. And thank you for watching this video. Be safe and sound. See ya. София, I'm done. София, Софиечка моя. Мама закончила. Да. Да. Ку-ку. 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 Okay.